After that first Summer League game, I feel like people were a little bit worried about Victor Wembenyama in his NBA career. He kind of got bullied around physically, got dunked on by Kai Jones, basically a no-name guy from a poverty organization in my Charlotte Hornets. Now, Wemby, he did bounce back. All the rumors, all the hype was lived up to in that second game. He played really good, brought the Spurs back from down pretty big there in the third and fourth quarter. And he's looking good. Coach Popovich just signed on for 5 more years. They've got all kinds of defensive versatility, defensive weapons in Jeremy Sochan and Devin Vassell. If you can even have a weapon on defense, I feel like those two guys would be a pretty good characteristic of that. So we're going to be talking all about the San Antonio Spurs here today and why I think they are a team that could make some noise. Victor Wembenyama could be the most impactful NBA rookie of all time. So before we get started, make sure to like button, leave me a comment down below if you do enjoy at any point, stick around for the full video, and hit the subscribe button, because odds are you're not subscribed, you join the club. I'm trying to get to 10K by the time the season starts. Now, with that being said, the rough start for the generational talent in Victor Wembanyama. What do you have, 9 points on like horrid shooting, 2 for 13 from the field. Did have 8 rebounds and 5 blocks, so I mean, he's gonna, no matter what he does on the offensive side of the ball, he's going to be a starting caliber center just because of his defensive impact. He's 7'5". Now, his first game, he looked like almost nervous. In France, he averaged 22, 10, 2.5, so he shouldn't have really been nervous, but he got locked up by Brandon Miller, who is 6'9", whereas he is 7'5", an entire 8 inches taller than him. You see the efficiency from France, but like I said, 3 blocks. He's going to be elite defensively in the NBA no matter what from day one. But I think his offensive game is just going to continue to get better and better. Also, he's going to put on some more weight. Remember, in his 2 games with American rules before the Summer League, he averaged 36 a night. I think this guy is going to be the most impactful rookie in NBA history and could help the Spurs reach the playoffs in his first season. Now, people say we've never seen anything like him, which is a little bit false. Chet Holmgren exists. He was the number 2 overall pick in last year's draft for a reason. People got mad when I called him the Walmart version of Victor Wembanyama, but as a prospect with the hype, he was. I mean, that's the truth. Victor Wembanyama, 3 inches taller, does everything a little bit better than Chet, it feels like. But maybe that will be wrong once they get into the NBA. Chet's been dominant in the time that we've seen him, although we really haven't seen him against NBA competition. And then Bobo, who is kind of bouncing around the league right now. We'll see what Wemby does, but as for right now, the thin towers in the NBA are not faring too well. Now, some guys that have had some rough summer league starts. Bron put up 14.7 rebounds, 6 assists on not good efficiency in his first summer league start. So, you know, that's not bad company to be in, I guess. I mean, that guy's all right at basketball. Kobe, he put up 27 in his first summer league start. He was dominant from the time that he stepped on the court. And then one of the best players in the league today, Steph Curry, put up 17 points per game in his first summer league action. Jokic, I would like to see I couldn't find the numbers on Jokic. I don't even know if he played in the summer league the year after he got drafted because he was coming from overseas. But Jokic probably dominated the summer league. Now, let's take a look at the defensive potential of this team. Sochan, 11 points per game, 5.3 rebounds last year. Whatever he gives you offensively is just a bonus because this man's bread and butter, the reason he got drafted in the top 10 was defense. Not to shoot, not to score. 45% from the field, 25% from 3. Yeah, that's decent. But the reason he got drafted was to play lockdown defense on a number of different positions. 26 minutes per game, 0.3 steals. We've already talked about Victor Wembanyama. We're about to talk about Devin Vassell. Jeremy Sochan is an elite defender in all phases of the game. And then the Spurs also have a rising star on their hands. Devin Vassell is going to be a guy to watch out for next year. I think he's going to be the vocal point on offense and defense if it's not Victor Wembanyama. He might be the number 2. Maybe Vic is the number 2 to start out with because Devin Vassell averaged 18.5 points, about 4 rebounds, 3.5 assists per game. He's a guy that, you know, could take the spotlight from Victor Wembanyama this year. 44% from the field, 39% from 3, 1.1 steals. That's a really, really good season that doesn't get talked about enough for, a 23-year-old? Maybe 22? He's improved every year. Came out of Florida State a couple of years ago, 3 years ago now, if I'm not mistaken. These young guys, they start to run together, all the draft classes and stuff. But Nonetheless, Vassell is going to be a star next year. I would not be shocked to see him average over 20 points a game. As a matter of fact, I'm expecting it. Now, looking at the front court this year. Now, at this point, it seems to be common knowledge that Zach Collins will be the starter at the 5, with Victor Wembenyama starting at the 4. There you see Collins' numbers this year, and I really like this because Wemby, he can guard on the perimeter if needed. They have Vassell as the lead defender. Trey Jones, not a bad defender. Sochan, not a bad defender. This just gives them so much more defensive upside because Zach Collins is a big body that can bang down low. Pause. And he can defend the rim. And then they also got guys like Mamu, who can play down low. People don't know much about Mamu, but he averaged about 10 points per game last year, 11 points a game, 6.5 rebounds or so, and a couple of assists. He's actually got really, really good vision for a big man, kind of a Jokic-esque passing ability. Only played in 23 minutes per game, though, last year, 45% from the field, 35% from 3. I feel like any big man that can pass at all is being considered like Jokic these days. But still, he's a guy to look forward to get some minutes. Malachi Branham, the first-round pick out of Ohio State last year, 11, 3, and 2 as a rookie on good shooting splits from the field. Not so much from 3, but 24 minutes per game. Good numbers for Branham. I'm liking this team a lot. You look at the lineups this year, and there's not going to be one lineup. Set it and forget it every single night. That's not going to be the case. We haven't even talked about Keldon Johnson or Trey Jones, both guys that can play big-time roles in this year's team. Keldon is the highest paid player on the team for a reason. Okay, he's going to be getting, at least longest extended player on the team for a reason. He's going to be getting his buckets. He can average about 20 a game. Vassell can average about 20 a game. Vic, I'm expecting like 15, 10, and maybe 2 blocks a game. That would be a good year for Vic. People are expecting 20 a game. I don't see all that. But like I said, with Zach Collins being able to play down low, it lets Wemby play the 4. He can slide his feet defensively and guard out on the perimeter. Really going to be a nightmare just because of his wingspan. He can play so far off that you can't blow by him, you can't shoot over him. That's a starting lineup. And then the best defensive player on the team in Jeremy Sochan is coming off the bench. So Greg Popovich has all of these weapons that he is able to deploy against you in various ways. It's going to be tough. Devontae Graham at the backup point, Branham at the backup 2, McDermott at the backup 3. McDermott can shoot it, Graham can shoot it. Graham wouldn't shock me if he gets traded, though, because of that contract. And then Branham, like we said, Blake Wesley even coming off the bench. Wouldn't shock me if they moved Graham and let Blake Wesley come off the bench and play. And then Mamu at the backup 5. This team, there's a lot more talent. Also got to take into account Champagne. He had a very, very good summer league. I mean, there's a lot of guys on this team that could give out a positive impact. And with one of the greatest coaches of all time, coaching this squad for at least the next 5 years, there's a lot of potential. They also have $50 million in cap. They can really go out and get whoever they want over the next few years in terms of cap space. This Spurs team, once again, I mean, the Spurs have had one of the best front offices in basketball for quite some time now, and it just continues. This is a team that is set up beautifully over the next 5 years. They just got the most highly anticipated prospect since LeBron James to build around. So much draft capital. I mean, this is looking really, really good. Great time to be a Spurs fan. I think they would take losing the streak of making consecutive playoff appearances for a guy in Victor Wembenyama and to be able to go out and seriously compete for championships. With that being said, that's going to be it for today's video. Let me know your thoughts on the Spurs down in the comments below. Make sure to hit the like button and hit that subscribe button, of course, if you are not subscribed. And with all that being said, thank you so much for watching today's video.